Well, anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out here. And what we wanted to do first is just have a couple people come up here and first of all explain exactly why we're here. There's going to be some misconceptions that will be cleared up, and it will be made very clear who we want our point to get across to. And one thing that I know of as sort of a personal testimonial is the cut classes for the summer, and I found out that it's not just going to stop this summer. It's going to spill over into fall, spring, and it's just going to keep happening until somebody decides to do something about it, and that's what we're here to do. And so one thing that I always think about is how when state legislators pass down budgets, there's always money for things like transportation and things like prisons. And while those things are important, it now seems like education has taken a back seat. And I, for one, don't want to take a back seat to prisoners. Alright, and right now, I think we're going to start with a chant. Wouldn't be a protest without a chant.
Let's do it, Wayne!
Make it happen.
All right. Stop the budget cuts. We've already bled enough.
Stop the budget cuts!
We've already bled enough. Stop the budget cuts. 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 We've already bled enough.
All right. And there will be plenty more of that this afternoon. Right now, I want to invite up another student to also help clear up some, common misconceptions about how we got here. So.
And I'm a graduating senior in the Communication Studies Department. Yeah! Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out and supporting us today. Give yourselves a round of applause. So I just wanted to start by saying it begins with all of us here in Northridge, and it bleeds into our city of Los Angeles, reaches the entire state of California, and expands across our nation. As concerned citizens of the United States, it is our responsibility to highlight the importance of education in our country. When budget cuts become a necessary means and our education systems begin to suffer as a result, it is time to take action and have our voices be heard. Including students, faculty, administration, and employees. It is our responsibility to let the state legislatures know that we are not going to sit and take these budget cuts sitting down. As a form of community, I would like to introduce Dr. Bernardo Matias, the Department Chair of the Communication Studies Department, and he's here to clear up a few misconceptions that may be misunderstood in our own community. So thank you so much for Dr. Matias.
Thank you. I have to say, first of all, this actually isn't the first time I've addressed a campus protest. The first time I did that was before most of you were born. But it is the first time I'm doing it as an administrator rather than as a student, so I think that's kind of interesting. I've got a couple things I want to say from the department, and then I've got a statement from the Dean of the Mike Tripp College of Arts, Media, and Communication that I'd like to read as well, because I think it's really important to kind of get our messages on the same line. I mean, for folks to understand, for students to understand that the administration is not really the enemy here. and that the problem really starts in Sacramento with the cuts themselves, the budget cuts themselves, which have prompted a move by the entire CSU system, which is run by the chancellor of the CSU, to limit enrollment, which is why you're seeing enrollment cut off in many of the classes. There were a number of classes that were scheduled for summer that are no longer being, that are no longer scheduled. As many of you may know that because you may have been advised into those classes when we thought we were going to be able to carry those classes, and unfortunately the budget cuts have made it impossible to do so. As the Department Chair of Communication Studies, I've heard from a number of you, from a number of your colleagues, other students around the university, about the problems that they're having with respect to losing summer classes. And as Wade said earlier, it really is not just the summer that we're looking at. Summer is the beginning of the year as far as the university is concerned, as far as they count enrollment, which is why some colleges cut their entire schedules for summer. I mean, the Mike Kirk College of Arts, Media, and Communication had to cut almost all of its classes from the summer schedule. There's only a couple of classes left on the summer schedule, and those were contractually obliged. There was no way for them to cut those. So those cuts that are taking place this summer are going to make it easier for us to be able to offer more courses in the fall and spring. There are other colleges that didn't cut in the summer, and they may be cutting much more significantly in the fall and spring. The point is that the budget cuts are leading to enrollment cuts for the entire year. It's not just for this summer. I want to read a statement from the dean, and again, I think it's important to understand that the administration, and the reason I started out by mentioning that I've spoken at campus protests before and never been on this side, is because one thing I've noticed in this one is that there's actually a lot more communication between the students and the administration, and part of the reason for that is I think we're all on the same side at this point. The decision to limit enrollment was a decision that the chancellor made to respond to the budget cuts, but the budget cuts came, from Sacramento, and we need to ask ourselves questions in the state of California about what our priorities are. And if our priorities are prisons over education, that says a lot about the future, about what we think about the future of our children. Personally, I'm more optimistic than that. I hope to see that the children of the state of California are going to college and not to prisons. But that's a question of priorities that we need to raise with the legislature, and we need to raise with everyone that votes in this state for a while. It's not something that unfortunately will change overnight. That said, I want to read a statement from the dean and then make a few other comments and then pass the mic on. So this is the statement from Dean Robert Bucher of the College of Arts, Media, and Communication. The current economic crisis has severely impacted the California State University system and Cal State Northridge, forcing us to restrict the number of students that we can enroll in the academic